Hey there, I'm a DIY track guy, this is my humble garage, and today is 6-speed transmission seal replacement day. And we clean the thing up because it's pretty nasty. This is a Miata 6-speed transmission, and what makes this one special is that it's mine. These are getting harder to come by in my local area, and this one has an unexpected backstory, which I'll tell you about in a little bit. But the job for now is to freshen this guy up by giving it a little clean and changing out the seals. These are the parts that came out of the transmission, and I'm a little bit concerned. This clutch slave has seen better days. All the rubber on this shifter seems to have perished long ago. This boot's torn, and the fork seems fine. A little bit of rust here. Anyways, we press on. Sorry about the noise in the background. My weapon of choice to clean this is this air die grinder and this brass bristle wire wheel. You can also use these on a drill, but if you've seen my rim repainting video, you'll know that this thing works great. Here's how it looks after about half an hour of wire wheeling with this guy, and it's coming out pretty good. As expected, the most difficult areas are where the wire wheel can't fit, like here and here, especially inside here. So we'll just keep working at it using this to get it as clean as possible. Okay, let me show you my work up close. In deeper recessed areas like this that are smaller, like here, here, and here, the wire wheel is too big to get in there. So if I want to clean that up a bit, I'm going to need to use a different tool. This is a flexible extension for a rotary tool that's Dremel branded, and I put a wire wheel on it. The rotary tool is actually clamped to this table so it doesn't move around, and hopefully this will allow me to get into these areas with a little bit more precision. Here we are with my humble old Simonized pressure washer. Before we get started, let's lube the O-ring. So these are what we'll be replacing on the transmission. 2 seals and this paper gasket. Part numbers in the description. I also have the shift fork dust boot on order. Next step is to remove the old output shaft seal. There seems to be a dent and a scrape in this seal. Perhaps it was dropped before. That's not good. Just gonna pop out this seal by using a hammer and a chisel along the metal ring around the seal. Now let's clean up the rust around here with a razor blade. Ta-da! We got the majority of the gasket maker that was on this thing off, and now we need to try to remove this seal. I'm gonna try using a pick. I'm a little disappointed that that came out so easy. I was hoping to use fire. Now that we got the old seal out and everything's cleaned up here, let's put the new seal in. Okay, that seal's bottomed out. For the output shaft seal, we could just install it like this. It's a friction fit and the oil in the transmission is under low pressure, so it shouldn't leak. But it doesn't hurt to add a bead of gasket maker around the seal like this Permatex Ultra Gray. This says it's ideal for high torque and vibration resistance and for temperatures up to 232 Celsius or 450 Fahrenheit. Per the instructions, we'll let this dry for an hour before we install it. And also for the input shaft cover, we need to add a bead of gasket maker. Alright, we got our bead on, and just like the output shaft seal, we're going to wait an hour for this to dry before installing. One thing of note is that printed on the rubber part of this seal are indications for up and down. It's really hard to see, but up has one bump and down has two bumps. We can get it seated by hand, and let's tap it in the rest of the way with this 1/4 inch extension and hammer. And we know by that change in sound that this is bottomed out. And so that no debris goes inside, I just covered this with a glove and a zip tie. Here's the newly repainted shift fork. It turned out okay. And let's reinstall this pivot ball retaining pin. I'm still waiting on a new one of these because there's a tear in this boot, but in the meantime we'll install this and then change it out later. Installed. Before we get into what I learned, let me tell you about this transmission. In Canada, where I live, finding a Miata 6-speed transmission used to be easy, but now things have changed, and not just because viruses are trying to exterminate all human life. So as of today, buying a used one can be difficult. A quick search of carpart.com shows that there's only one in Canada and only 10 available in all of the United States. The other option is JDM parts importers, but the ones in my local area haven't had stock in over a year. This one isn't JDM, USDM, or even Canadian DM. It comes from the United Kingdom and was sold by a company called Prestige UK. Now they don't have a website, but they do have a Facebook page, link in the description. So if you're looking for hard to find Miata parts that are unavailable in your area, you may want to give them a call and get a quote. I'm not sponsored by them, so consider this a friendly PSA for my fellow track DIY Miata enthusiasts. Alright, so quickly, what did we learn? Today I learned that not all Miata transmissions come with a paper gasket on the input shaft cover. I was concerned when I saw RTV on it, but a wise man told me that from the factory, 6-speeds came with red-orange RTV and green Loctite on the threads, which this one did. And under that cover, I was expecting a round shim plate to pop out, but there was nothing there. I discovered that it's meant for bearing preload purposes, and some transmissions didn't come with them. But if yours is mangled beyond repair, you can buy them. Just first measure the thickness and source the appropriate one. Alright, that's all from the Most Useless Garage. You're awesome, I'm useless. Thanks for watching.